This is one of those frequent occasions where a senator is called upon to talk to an audience, each one of whom knows more about the topic than he or she does. But that's not going to hold me back. Just to lay the groundwork, and I'm sure everyone in this room realizes it, broadband is the essential infrastructure of the 21st century, and the problem and the reason Senator Capito and I are here, and John Bozeman will be here later, is rural America is this is a really serious problem for rural America for two reasons. One, without broadband, it's very difficult to develop any kind of economic activity. And secondly, it's very difficult to keep people living in an area that doesn't have broadband. If you can imagine yourself looking at a house with a realtor and they say, well, it has a nice view and it's on the road and everything, but by the way, you'll never have broadband, chances are you wouldn't buy that house. And yet this is the case in many parts of rural America. So that's the context in which this is so incredibly important to states like Maine, West Virginia, Arkansas. Every state in the country has urban and rural areas. Well, maybe not Rhode Island, but pretty much everybody does. So that's why this is such an important issue. It's absolutely broadband and workforce are the two most serious economic issues in my state. Adequate workforce and the availability of broadband. Of course, there are lots of changes coming in technology, 5G, which may not help rural areas that much because 5G only operates in a density situation. What we're talking about today is mapping. And I'm a great believer that you can't make good policy without good data. And if we don't have good mapping of exactly where the service is, where it isn't, then it's very hard to really determine what the policy should be or where the policy initiatives should take place. For example, all the maps show Augusta, Maine as a place with great cellular service, but as a guy who drives through it periodically, I can tell you if you're on the Maine Turnpike just west of Augusta, forget it. You don't have cellular service, let alone broadband. And so I have two issues I want to raise. I'm sure will be discussed. One is, my understanding is that that Form 477 process says an entire census block is served if there's one node of service. And in rural America, census blocks are really big. A census block in an urban area can be 1 square block. We've got census blocks in Maine that are 14 square miles. And so if you have one little corner of it that's served and that checked the box for that census block in the mapping, then that's really not representative of what the situation is. The other piece is that apparently the form asks not whether there's service now, but whether a provider could bring service to the area in the near future. That's not satisfactory because we don't know whether that will ever happen. So I'm anxious to listen and learn something this morning about this process, but I can't emphasize enough, A, the importance of this whole subject matter to the country, and particularly the rural areas of the country, and secondly, the importance of having good data and good maps so that we know what the impact of our policies are going to be, and I look forward to hearing our panel. And I'm now honored to introduce my colleague from Arkansas, Senator John Bozeman, who's been involved in this initiative since we began. Great to have you with us, John. Please join us.